Hey there everyone, welcome to Violet's Dream Tarot. So today we're going to be doing a special reading. This is the Love Predictions reading for May. I've already done the General Predictions reading for May, so the link for that will be in the description box for those of you who haven't already seen it, because obviously it works quite well with this video. But today we're kind of framing it in a special way because we're going to be getting messages from the love goddess Oshun as part of today's reading. And I was inspired to do this because obviously Oshun is a goddess of love and beauty and luxury, but also her sacred number is the number 5. And obviously we're coming into May, which is the 5th month. So this idea just came to me and I thought it would be really lovely to do. So I am going to be channeling Oshun for today's reading. It's kind of her power that's going to be guiding the cards and the charms and the dice that come out for us today. I'm also wearing a perfume oil called Oshun to further increase the connection between us. I kind of had a little meditation prior to starting to film so that we could connect to her energy. So I'm really excited to do this reading, and maybe some of you actively worship Oshun and this is going to be a special reading for you, and maybe some of you have never even heard of her and are now going to go away and learn more about her, and that's a wonderful thing as well. So let's take a look at the cards that have come out as the pile markers for today's piles. And just before we do, I want to say a big thank you to all of you for being here. Thank you for being here. Thank you to all of my lovely subscribers as well, and of course to all of my lovely patrons, including Alexandra, Kelly, Joan, Cara, Mia, Nicole and Lena. Thank you to each and every one of you for your kindness and the love that you show towards this channel. Please do consider subscribing if you haven't already. It really helps out my channel. It means that you never miss out on any videos or readings that I post, and it's just a great way to show your support for the work that I do. So let's look at the piles. As I said, these cards came out while I was shuffling. I asked Oshun to give a sign or a special message for each pile that would draw each person towards their right pile. So on pile 1 we have the card Alignment, number 18. There's these beautiful dolphins and the gorgeous chakra jewels and lovely spiral imagery. We've got the Tarot in Wonderland for group 1. Just take your time. Just ask yourself, what's coming up for me in love in May? What can I expect from my love life in May? However you want to word it. You might have a particular question in mind as well that we maybe can answer today. On group 2 we have number 3, the Sacral Chakra, core of creation, with the Circle of Life Tarot. I thought that one was very apt for this reading, and also for Oshun because she's very connected to yellow, and so the sort of orangey yellow vermilion color of the sacral chakra I think really resonates with her. And then finally Earth Star Chakra on pile 3, it's number 1. Initiation is the key word there, and we will be using the Star Spinner Tarot for pile 3. So as I said, just take your time. You can pause the video or go back to the start of the video if you want to see a close-up of the piles again. Choose the pile that you are drawn to with your intuition. Don't choose your favorite card or deck. Just choose the one that you feel you can't stop looking at, or that you maybe get a warm or tingly feeling when you look at it with your intuition. That will give you the most accurate reading for today, and obviously that's what we're here to do. So when you guys are ready, I will get started with pile number 1. Hey there group 1, welcome to your reading. If you chose Alignment as your pile marker card, and of course the Tarot in Wonderland, this is going to be your reading. First of all, let's talk a little bit about the pile marker. So Alignment, if you're drawn to this card, suggests that you are coming into balance after a time of extremes. It's kind of finding that midway point, that point of moderation, maybe after a time of excess or overindulgence, or maybe after a time of lack and deprivation. It also makes me think of coming into alignment with your goals, or aligning with your dreams and desires. So maybe that's what drew you to this card. Maybe you're working holistically with all of your chakras or all of your energy field as well. Let's see what Oshun has to say about your love life, group 1, and please do subscribe if you haven't already. Lady Oshun, what's coming up for group 1 in May in their love life, please? Okay, so we've got a few cards already. So your first card here today is the 7 of Cups. And then we have 3 of Cups, Two of Swords, and the King of Cups. So there's a lot of Cups cards, and decision making seems to be quite a key situation that's going on here. So Cancer, Scorpio and Pisces are showing up in your reading so far. It seems like you are kind of torn between what to do in May, and maybe you've already been feeling this in April or the months leading up to May as well, because we're starting out with that kind of feeling. The Seven of Cups, it's like, what do I do? Which way do I turn? Maybe whom should I choose if you have more than one admirer? The Two of Swords suggests this kind of runs through May as well. What do I do? What's the right path for me? I can see with the Three of Cups that you are basically starting to lighten up. You are being more hopeful in terms of romance. You are opening up to meeting new people. You are trying to be, I guess, kind of fun and lighthearted about this whole decision-making process as well, because you're just hoping it's going to work itself out. But there's definitely an admirer in May with this King of Cups figure. I would say for a lot of you, it's more than one admirer, or it's this big kind of feeling of, should I go out with this person or should I not? You know, sort of a will they, won't they situation. Or maybe you're kind of thinking to yourself, you know, I want to be with this person, but I'm not sure how commitment ready I am, or how ready for commitment they are, etc. I'm not sure whether we're that kind of perfect fit at this time. And so you've got some questions that you're asking yourself. I do get the feeling that this is mainly people who aren't in a relationship already, or who are in the early stages of a relationship and are kind of asking themselves what they want to do next, or assessing what's going on. But maybe there are some of you here who are in relationships, and if that's the case, then I would say it's kind of like you're trying to bring the spark back to the connection. Maybe you've had a bit of a rocky time, you've had some doubts, you've maybe had some trust issues, or some just basically a time where the relationship has been descending into a point where it's been more difficult, or it's been less fun, less exciting, and you're trying to bring back that passion and that enjoyment by doing fun things with your partner and trying to lift up the feeling, but you're just not quite sure whether it's working, or you're not sure exactly how to inject that fun into the connection. Let's get some oracle cards now. So we have Bindung, number 12, commitment. So this definitely seems to be a big issue in the situation for you, regardless of whether you're in a relationship or not. It's like, am I really committed to this person? Are they really committed to me? Do I want to get into a committed relationship with this person? Is this the right person for me to try and settle down with? You know, there's all these kind of feelings and thoughts that are swirling around your head. Then we have Stell dich ein, number 31, rendezvous. Okay, so spending time with your partner or with the person that you're interested in that kind of light-hearted way. Like I said, with the Three of Cups, there's this feeling of trying to have fun, trying to be spontaneous, maybe trying to kind of shake up the routine a little bit. Sometimes that's a problem in relationships. You get to that point where it becomes very routine. You have your schedule of what you do each week with your partner, the sort of things you do, the places you go. You know, it's like you want to shake it up and make it a bit different. Then we have Abwehrhaltung, number 65, defensive behavior. So this could be that someone has become more aloof over time, or it could be that you're interested in someone who seems to be quite at a distance, like a little bit hard to get close to, and that's making you wonder, you know, would this person really be ready for commitment if I offered a relationship to them, because they seem quite content being very independent. As I said, it could be in a relationship where you feel like you're pulling away from each other. Naivität, number 62, naivety. And this is the problem as well, is that you don't want to basically feel like a fool. Like, you don't want to place too much trust in someone and then have it go wrong, and then for you to be thinking, looking back, like, yeah, of course that was going to happen because they were always so independent, or they were always so aloof or at a distance emotionally, or you're kind of thinking, look, the spark is dying in my relationship, but I don't want to be that person that feels like a fool because I'm putting all the effort in and I'm trying to, you know, entice my partner back to me, or I'm trying to make things fun again, and they're just not putting in the same level of commitment and effort and basically thinking time. You know, all the mental load has fallen to me. So there's definitely this concern about feeling foolish or feeling naive. Then we have Rebelle, number 34, Rebel, and also number 38, Seifenoper, soap opera. So Lady Oshun is really drawing your attention to the fact that you want to shake things up, but also to the feeling that things have become quite dramatic. So like I said, you could be in this quandary situation where you're just thinking, should I do this? Should I do that? You know, am I really into that person that much? And it's all becoming very dramatic, and it doesn't need to be that much drama. You know, I feel like one of the biggest things to remind yourself in love in May with the cards that you've gotten so far is love shouldn't be extremely difficult. Like, it should be fun. It should be enjoyable. A relationship should add something to your life. It shouldn't take something away or make it seem like it's another chore on your to-do list, or it's an extra burden that you've got to bear. Obviously, all relationships will go through their tougher times, and that might be to do with the connection itself, or it might be as a result of external factors that are putting pressure on the relationship, like work stress or family issues or health problems or money worries. But it shouldn't be, a relationship shouldn't just be like this long, hard plod where it's always like a problem I've got to solve, or it's always like something that's dragging me down, or something that's dramatic and draining and tiring, and I'm trying to prove myself, or I'm trying to get them on side, or they're, you know, always trying to do this with me. It's meant to be fun and enjoyable. So I think that's something that would be really helpful to remind yourself of in May, because that will lead you, I think, onto the right path and help you to make the right decisions. The base card in this deck is also Freundschaft, number 66, friendship, which I think is something also to bear in mind, that first and foremost, a partner should be a good friend to you. And if you feel like they're not being a good friend to you, if you feel like the friendship part of your relationship has gone and it's just become a sexual connection, or people who live together but don't really like each other very much or don't really interact very much, then that's something to work on, is building the friendship. Equally, if you're considering, you know, do I want to be with this person? Do I want to go out with them, etc.? Ask yourself how good of a friend they are to you. Are you just attracted to them physically and the sort of chemistry is there, but there's no actual support and friendship? Or equally, are you just really close to them as a friend, and that's causing you to feel confused about whether or not it's a romantic feeling on your half? I think these are all the questions you need to be asking yourself, group one. Obviously, just take the ones that fit your situation, but this is what I'm feeling is going on. Okay, then we have these two cards from the Dixit deck. We've got the monsters who are kind of taking pictures of this child like he's in some kind of zoo, basically like a role reversal. And then we have the person who is holding on to the eagle who's flying away with an empty cage, this symbol of liberation and freedom, and also progress and movement, very swift movement. I get a very Eight of Wands feeling from that card. So what I'm seeing with this card is this feeling of all eyes being on you, and everything also being like your job. Okay, so it's like the recognition of this burden of decision making, like it's just you who's making the choice. There's no one else who is going through that with you. Or, you know, if you're trying to salvage a relationship that has been through some difficulty, it's like you're thinking, I'm worried, as I said earlier, about appearing foolish because I'm worried about how all of my actions come across, or, you know, how people are viewing me in this situation. And there's this desire to be liberated from drama, from problems, from issues, from the uncertainty of what you're going through right now. Unrequited love. There's not enough attraction or chemistry to keep this relationship going. So that is what's going on. So the way that we can take this relationship card is obviously different in each situation. So firstly, if you're kind of crushing on your friend, I think the big issue here is like, do I ask them out? Is that going to leave me falling flat on my face, feeling like a fool? You know, are they even interested in me in that way? And so I think you've got to really carefully analyze what cues they've given you in that sense, because like I said, you don't want to do something that takes the fun away and makes the whole relationship feel like a burden, feel like something that is heavy. You want to continue having that positive connection with that person. If it's a relationship where you feel like the spark has gone. It's trying hard to get that spark back, but not in a way that's like, please do this with me, or let's, do this together and it'll save our marriage or whatever. It's like trying to inject a bit more fun and spontaneity into it, but not forced fun. Like, we all know the difference between something that's genuinely like spontaneous and enjoyable and something that's like forced fun, where people are being made to participate in this activity that's meant to be enjoyable and no one really wants to do it. Like those sort of, corporate, what are they called? Corporate away days, where your team goes away and has to spend time with each other. Or family fun when you're a teenager and you just can't bear it. It's that kind of feeling. I think this issue is mainly stemming from this defensive behavior that we mentioned earlier in the reading. Then this card from the Lover's Oracle has also come through. This card says forgiveness. Stop focusing your energy on past events, for life is too precious to waste. You create your reality by what you think, dream, and imagine. So this could mean that past experiences in love are causing you to be very cautious in this situation. For example, maybe you've asked someone out before and it's gone horribly wrong. You felt humiliated, you felt foolish or rejected, and that's stopping you from having the confidence to tell someone how you feel. It could be that there has been some infidelity, or that there has been some lying or betrayal, or just kind of disappointment in a long-standing connection where you felt let down by your partner or hurt by them because of their actions, or the way they've treated you, their attitude towards you. And this is basically saying, look, in order to move forward, you need to make your peace with the past. That doesn't mean that you need to stay in a relationship if it's making you unhappy. And it equally doesn't mean that you need to kind of force yourself to do things that cause you a lot of anxiety or cause you a lot of stress. It's about telling yourself, right, what can I be happy with moving forward? If I feel like I can never make my peace with infidelity, then it's time to walk away from the relationship. If it's you thinking, do you know what, I can risk the anxiety in order to ask the person out, because although obviously if it doesn't go my way I'll be upset, if it does go my way, I get a great gain. It's just assessing how you feel, basically, and there's no right or wrong answer to any of those questions. If you felt yourself kind of thinking about it while I was talking and thinking I should probably say this, there's no should, there's no this is how I have to feel or this is what I have to do, because the whole point is it should be fun. It should be not necessarily easy, but it should be okay for you. It shouldn't be something where you're making this Herculean effort to stay in a relationship or make someone like you, or simply indicating to a person that you're interested in them. So Oshun definitely wants you to focus upon how simple is this, or how easy is this for me in May in regards to love. We have choose love, number 21. You always have choice, make yours with love. And that's definitely the underlying situation for May, is choice and decision making. Relationship patterns, number 32. It takes strength to recognize the need for change. And that is very apt as well. This recognition that you can't keep basically going around in circles, making the same mistakes or getting into the same relationship dynamics or behavioral patterns that have just not been serving you. Something has to give, something has to change. I wonder what will happen next. Number 2. Ready to adventure, precipice of change, pause before action. So literally, this point where you get to decide how you're going to play your next move. That's literally what is happening for you in May, is you really deliberating on what you're going to do and what feels right for you and what feels like the next best step. Winter's dream, gestation period. Yes, number 63. I don't want you to rush into a decision. Group 1, I think that's also what's being highlighted now. You might feel like, oh, if May's all about decisions, then I need to make that choice really quickly at the start of May. That's not the case. It's just saying that you're faced with this decision and this kind of dilemma in May and you need to make a choice. It doesn't mean that you need to be kind of forced to make that choice before the midway point of May, or even before May is over. It just means that you are faced with that choice, and that's something that you need to give your thought and attention to. Let's get a message from the masculine and feminine here. You'll know which one you are based upon your energy, the way that you communicate your energy into the world, the dynamics of your relationship. Doesn't always correlate necessarily with biological sex, so just be aware of that. If you ever watch my videos and you feel like, oh, the feminine message never seems to resonate with me, it feels like it's the other way around, that's because you probably have the dominant masculine energy. There's always one that's more dominant. It's quite difficult to get a perfect 50-50 split in our energy. So the message from the masculine is Krishna, compassion, number 27. Okay, so basically the masculine is needing to get into this space where they are more open, where they are more compassionate, where they're more able to empathize with what's going on. And it feels like with that card coming in, there's the opportunity for them to do that in May. So that could be you, or it could be the other person, but there is going to be an opportunity for the masculine to open up and to try and empathize and to see what's going on in the other person's mind and emotional life. And then the message from the feminine is Ma'at, fairness. This situation will be handled in a fair and just manner. So I like these. I feel like the two of them are both quite well matched. I would say that Krishna is more pliable. Krishna is more likely to concede in a situation where there's an argument, to try and keep the peace, or to, smooth things over, whereas Ma'at is quite dispassionate in the sense that she will always try and be balanced, and she will always try to do what she feels is right, and for that reason she can be quite uncompromising sometimes. So that's something to be aware of. I always think strongly of Libra when I see Ma'at as well, because of the scales and obviously her connection to justice. But they're certainly not a badly matched pair. So that's just the two things, is there's a need to basically recognize that one partner is more compromising and the other one is more kind of judging, rational, maybe even more imposing. You have number 25 from the King Solomon cards. The door, the opportunity, the new beginning. This opportunity for change and travel and adjusting to a new situation. Let's see who's coming towards you in May as well, because this might help work out what's going on for you. So for those of you who aren't aware of who you're dealing with in May already, this is someone who is sensitive, tolerant, cooperative, and easy to interact with. Their possible interests include arts, reading, museums, law, storytelling, health education, event organizing, and history. So there's a little bit of Ma'at and Krishna in both descriptions of that person there. So let's get you a blind spot card to see what you're not seeing in this situation, and then we'll move on to your charms and dice group 1. Okay, so you've got number 8, sigil number 8 from the blind spot oracle. Let's check the guidebook to see which one that is. Okay, so your blind spot in this situation is bypassing. It says, if you've drawn this sigil, what you do not see is that you are bypassing in this situation. Bypassing is a coping mechanism that leads you to believe that actual resolution has taken place when it hasn't. Bypassing, or whitewashing, is the act of using beliefs to avoid facing or healing one's painful feelings, unresolved wounds, and unmet needs. It's a state of avoidance. Because it's a state of avoidance, it is a state of resistance. So this definitely fits in with the forgiveness message and the message of, we can't keep going on like this, or I can't keep feeling this way, or getting myself into these situations, or feeling like the dynamics are always going down the same old path. It says if you've drawn this sigil, you may be using positives to deny, reject, and disown negatives. For example, you may be using higher spiritual truths to invalidate the parts of lower dimensional reality that you find unpleasant. You may be convinced you are somewhere that you are not. Ask yourself these questions. In this situation, am I avoiding the fact that I feel like I'm deficient and not good enough or bad by creating a persona of a spiritually transcendent person? Am I using certain beliefs to avoid my pain or problems? Do I feel like the spiritual me is different from the embodied me? Am I using a belief to justify an insecurity within myself? Am I using spirituality, or anything else for that matter, to avoid looking at things in my reality that I would rather think didn't exist? So those are just things to ask yourself in your own time. There might be one that really stuck out to you, one question in that list that you might want to ponder either now or in May. Let's move on to your charms and dice as well. See what extra information they can give us. I also feel like the messages of forgiveness and resolution that we've seen, and also Ma'at as well, and releasing the past, really fit in with your pile marker card of alignment, because they all talk about balance and finding a space where things feel better. So what have we got here? We've got the growth charm, which is really nice. We also have the crab, which is Cancer's energy showing up again. The crab also makes me think of emotional, like, sensitivity, touchiness, broodiness, all of those things where you might be more sensitive than usual, or you might be irritable, for example. Small things might annoy you, whereas they wouldn't usually. So it might be a quite an emotional month for you. We've got the letter W and also the letter U. So that could have some meaning for you. They could be words, places, a name that comes to you. Just take whatever comes to you intuitively from those. You've got an angel wing. So angels are really around you in May. They want to help you. The compass, which to me is like the wheel of fortune, things changing for the better. Positive progress and positive transformation is possible for you in May, and that fits in with the growth message. You also have the Christmas tree, which is a winter symbol. So if you're in the southern hemisphere, you'll be about to enter winter time, and so that is, you know, maybe has more meaning for you. But whenever I get a seasonal charm that is outside of the season that it corresponds to, it either means that you are still dealing with something that happened in that season. So maybe this hurtful thing happened in winter, for example, or you are making plans for the coming winter. So focusing on what are we going to do then, or we've got this coming up at that time, and you know, I feel like this needs to be resolved before then, that kind of thing. Just take that however that resonates with you. We've got the feminine landing here on the liberation card. Swift progress. So it feels like the feminine is the one who's being liberated from the cage, from the destructive patterns. We also have the toxic person or situation charm. So something that really, really needs to be resolved before it gets worse. Something that, you know, needs to be said or needs to be done, needs to be healed from. And your final charm is the helmet, which indicates going through a tough time, but being prepared for it, having the resources to get yourself through the difficulties or the problems that you face. So let's get your dice on top now to finish up your reading, group 1. See what final messages Lady Oshun has for you today. So we're going to roll the 6th set of dice. Those are the Voyager's dice, which is interesting because you've got that sort of travel-centered image there. Also, the door makes me think a bit of travel. Maybe there's going to be an opportunity to go somewhere, or you're planning a holiday or something. And we're going to roll 8 dice for you. So that's nearly the whole box because there's only 9 dice in the set. Okay, so you've got the person who is kind of pointing and shouting and getting angry. So there is this desire to indict someone. In May, it's like you have a lot of grievances that you want to lay at someone's door, and that might be the person that you're interested in, the person you're in a relationship with, or it could be a past person whose behavior, even though they're no longer in your life, their past behavior is still dictating your present, and that is something that really pains you. We've got the whip as well, which suggests that you are trying to like put a lot of stress upon yourself. You're like, come on, do this, just do it now. Like you're really giving yourself a hard time there. Choppy waters are also indicating feelings of uncertainty or turbulence, drama and difficulty. We have got the crow, which is the calling card of Lady Morrigan, the Celtic goddess of war and battle, death and destruction. She comes to us at times of turbulence, so she's quite a good ally to have on our side when we're going into battle. It's also symbolic of omens, the crow. It tells us that we know something's going to happen before it actually does, so there's a little bit of a premonition coming to you in May. You might have some increased psychic ability. Over here we've got the gears. Now when the gears land on something, it means that something is already in progress, and it's landing on the liberation card and a little bit on the unrequited love card. So it's like you're trying to free yourself from something that's holding you back, something that's entrapping you, and that's already something you're experiencing. Equally, the unrequited love, where you're worried someone doesn't love you, or you're feeling unlovable, or you're worried that the spark is gone from a relationship. That's something that you're already aware of. Over here we've got the circus. I think that fits really nicely with how you are trying to add more spice, more excitement, more fresh, new, exciting things to your relationship, or you're trying to do more things with the person that you are attracted to. You've got the amulet, which is about protection, being safe throughout this time. What we don't necessarily always see in this image, we see the man and the woman who doesn't really care about him that much, who looks quite dispassionate, but we don't see the angels that are here, the angels that are offering their comfort and their protection and their guidance in this situation. So I think that's really what you should be focusing on in May. And then you have the shortcut, this trapdoor or this hidden wall, what are they called, the little door in the wall that you often see in mysteries, something that can get you somewhere more quickly. There is a quicker route, or there is a shortcut to getting what you want in May, or to resolving a situation. It might not necessarily be the easiest way, but it's a quicker way. So that's something to think about as well. There is a method that you can employ that is going to be quicker than a different method that you've been considering. So that's what I'm seeing in your reading, Group 1. Lady Oshun wants to draw your attention to quite a few things. Firstly, this decision making and uncertainty, then these worries about feelings or the lack of them, commitment or the lack of it, etc. Something from the past that needs to be resolved and laid to rest, and obviously decisions surrounding that, whether you can continue down this path or take a different path, and a need to be more open to one another and to take your time coming to your conclusions before you take action towards your decision. Just taking your time to accumulate your energy back and rest and reflect and get back into alignment with what needs to be done. So I hope this is helpful for you, Group 1. Please do let me know in the comments. Thank you for being here. Please like, share and subscribe as well if you enjoyed the video, because that really helps me out enormously, and it means that we can get these messages to as many people as possible. You might also want to thank Lady Oshun in the comments as well, or definitely go ahead and do some research on her if you've never heard of her before, because that's also part of what my channel is about, is spreading awareness of spiritual topics and helping you to achieve some form of enlightenment or some elevated form of wisdom. If you are interested in the work that I do, check out my description box and my comments section below. They are always full of links. You can follow me on Instagram. I post daily oracle cards and sometimes daily readings there. You can head over to Patreon to support me. I teach astrology over there. There's lots of other benefits as well. I have my Etsy page for private readings and healing sessions. You can donate to the channel. I have a PayPal link. I also have 2 wish lists for anyone who wants to send in a new deck as a gift to the channel, and we've got a discount running still with Modern Day Manifestation, so you can get 10% off manifestation crystal jewelry below if you're interested in that. Just use the discount code VIOLET at checkout and use the link below to get you there. So thank you again for being here, Group 1. Take care. Have a lovely rest of your day and obviously a wonderful May. Good luck with the decisions that you decide to make. And I'll see you again soon. Bye bye. Take care. Hey there, Group 2. Welcome to your reading. If you chose the Sacral Chakra, number 3, Core of Creation, and the Circle of Life Tarot, this is going to be a reading. We're going to see what Lady Oshun has to say about your love life in May. So obviously we're going to take into account the Sacral Chakra, the card that you are pulled towards. This is the chakra of intimacy, sexuality, creativity, and self-expression. It's also very connected to being vulnerable, so you might have been drawn to the sacral chakra because you are working on those things, or maybe you are working specifically with the sacral chakra, like you might be working with those issues but not the sacral in like a named way, or you might be genuinely working on strengthening your sacral chakra. So there could be a lot today about intimacy or about opening yourself up to someone and feeling comfortable being vulnerable or being truly seen by someone. Another thing to bear in mind if this is true for you is that the sacral chakra is blocked by feelings of shame and feelings of guilt. I suppose guilt is kind of like, it's a form of shame, isn't it really? It's shame with like another layer of something else added to it. It's shame and regret at the same time. So yeah, that's what we're looking at today, I think. I think they'll probably come up in your reading. But let's get your tarot, and please do subscribe, Group 2, if you haven't already. That really helps me out enormously. Okay. So your tarot cards are the King of Cups. It's interesting because group 1 got the King of Cups, although obviously in a different deck. You also have the 8 of Swords. This feeling of restriction and limitation. And the Wheel of Fortune. So already I would say this kind of applies to what I've just been talking about. We've got Cancer, Scorpio, Pisces showing up here with the King of Cups, and a lot of people aren't aware of this because they think with the sacral chakra being orange that it should be fiery, but the element that's associated with the sacral chakra is the element of water. So obviously the King of Cups ties in with that. So the King of Cups being here to me says that there is a romantic partnership in your life, either you're in a relationship or there's someone at least that you're interested in May. But particularly the King of Cups in this deck, I'm always drawn by how sort of forlorn he looks, and he's got a sleeping dog next to him, and he's got these angels that are sort of looking tired or hiding their faces as well. So it feels like there are some issues here. There is some kind of heart sickness, or there is some I just want to keep saying forlorn, like this tiredness and this feeling of, you know, where did it go wrong, or how have I gotten myself into this situation? How can I work back the steps to get to where I was before? The 8 of Swords kind of carries on that implication, because the 8 of Swords is about restriction and limitation, where we feel stuck. You can see this person is trying to break out of a stone room in which they have become enclosed, representing a particular behavioral pattern or mindset or situation that is limiting and holding you back. And then the Wheel of Fortune is really positive to get in this reading, because it's telling you that there is the opportunity in May for progress and for positive change. The Wheel of Fortune always shows up things changing for the better, external circumstances improving for us, or things running more smoothly, or great progress as a result of our hard work. So let's start getting your oracle cards now, Group 2. Let's see what else Lady Oshun has to say to you. That's quite an interesting overview of your situation in May. Okay. So here we've got Heilung, number 2, healing. We also have Keksign, number 21, being cheeky. That's quite a nice card. Then we have Verrat, number 51, betrayal. And Schmerz, number 58, pain. So it feels like some of these are at least connected. It feels like there is some healing from a betrayal and the pain that that has resulted in. To me, this reading doesn't read as though there's going to be infidelity in your relationship in May. It feels like you're dealing with lies or infidelity or other kind of disappointment that's happened in the past, and you're carrying that pain around. And I'm always drawn to how this woman's laid on a stretcher, how it looks like she's just completely on the floor, so to speak, this rain cloud on top of her. It's like you don't want to carry that pain round anymore. You don't want to keep being hurt by that. So that's also, I think, where we get the sort of sullen looking King of Cups in this reading. So in the past, group 2, it seems like there has been some issue with genuine, like, straight out cheating, or there has been simply lying, or someone, maybe, for example, like someone you were in a relationship with siding with their friend instead of you, and that really upsetting you because that's like the person who's meant to have your back doesn't, and that's really disappointing and lets you down. It could even be something like a rejection situation where you kind of put yourself out there to a person, making yourself vulnerable, you know, sacral chakra, and then that person rejects you and goes off with someone else, whether it's their friends or a third party, you know, someone that they were already dating, or someone that you didn't know that they were interested in, but they choose to go off with them after they've let you down. There's this kind of feeling that I'm getting. And it's connected to your sacral chakra because you're carrying around those feelings of shame. Even if you did nothing to feel ashamed of, you're still feeling the shame, and you're still carrying that around, and the pain of that situation. And you don't want to be stuck in that trap anymore. You don't want to be in that box that that person and the situation that they caused have placed you in. So the being cheeky card, I think, is kind of separate. But I think this is showing you trying to basically put yourself out there a bit more in May. If you're not in a relationship, this could be like actively and overtly flirting with people. It could be having some banter with people. If you're in a relationship, it could be trying to get the spark back, kind of tongue-in-cheek behavior and joking, and, you know, just trying to get yourself out of these thoughts where you're dwelling on what's happened in the past and you feel triggered, or you feel a lot of pain that you're carrying around every day. So here we've got Waisenkind, number 48, orphan. So that definitely fits with issues if you felt betrayed or you felt rejected. We have Kleiner Junge, number 17, little boy. This card is when someone is actively trying to stop you from growing, when they're actively trying to restrict you from progressing in life or from succeeding. And Depression, number 7, depression. The base card in the deck there is Geburt, number 70, birth. So there is this sense of an opening up. Sacral chakra is also connected to your reproductive organs and to the Sephirot of Yesod in the Kabbalah. So it is like this time of opening yourself up, of letting go of things that have been so painful for you, and allowing yourself to grow, basically, and to become more of yourself, because it's unsustainable to carry around this level of pain or shame or sadness, because it's interfering with other areas of your life. Even if you go like several weeks feeling completely fine, something happens that triggers you and you're just plunged back into that depression again, or you're plunged into that state of fear where you are incredibly afraid of being vulnerable to anyone, of letting anyone see your true self. I like this card. This is the old man, sort of grandpa, sitting in his rocking chair in his garden, and he's gazing up at the cosmos. And this card has only come out like once or twice for me when I was doing a reading for someone, but it's often come out when the implication seems to be that you can't necessarily do everything because you're physically not capable. It's come up for people with mobility issues, or because you are like just not, you don't have the energy, or you don't have the frame of mind to really put yourself out there. But you can do what you can. you can do small things, and you should push yourself in those small ways that feel comfortable enough for you. So maybe you're sort of pushing yourself away from the wall a little bit, if we kind of use a metaphor of being like in a swimming pool. You're not going straight over to the deep end and trying to just deal with things yourself, even if you've done that in the past, even if you used to be quite comfortable in the deep end. This is like pushing yourself away from the wall, or the point where you can have your feet on the floor. In the swimming pool, it's like pushing yourself just out of reach, or just like a slither out of the touch, and seeing how you are, because you can quickly move back to it. And yeah, just seeing how you feel in that state, like slightly pushing the boundaries of your comfort zone. You've also got this base card here where this ogre or giant has kidnapped these people and is keeping them in jars. This feeling again of being stuck, like the Eight of Swords, abandoned, in pain, frightened of putting yourself out there, frightened of being judged. So it's just doing what you're capable of doing, ever so slightly pushing on the comfort zone, group 2. Could be that you're afraid of offering yourself to people, in terms of like telling them that you have feelings, because you have painful experiences of being rejected in the past. We have reconciliation. Someone from your past is returning to your life. So this could be, I guess, either positive or negative. It depends on how you look at it, group 2. It could be that there is someone coming into your life who you have maybe been with in the past, or you've been attracted to in the past, and this is your opportunity in May to be back with them, or to finally have a relationship with them. It could be that you are in a relationship where the spark has gone, or there have been big issues, and so you've had a break, or you've just had a period of time where it's felt like you're just kind of muddling along but not really a couple, and this is your chance to get to know each other again. Or it could be, as I said, in the more negative sense, that these feelings are triggered by seeing someone from the past who relates back to those memories of being betrayed or hurt or rejected or let down. So it could be the actual perpetrator of that, or it could be someone who maybe you were friends with at the time, who knows what happened, and just seeing them really brings it all back. So just take that however it resonates with you, group 2. Love this card. The beautiful dove there. This card says new beginning. A new adventure awaits. Embrace it and live your dreams passionately. Wow. That fits with that birth base card that we saw. This opportunity to basically reinvent yourself, to become a new version of you, to leave behind these people and situations that were trying to actively stop your growth, or push you down, or keep you down at whatever level you were at. This ability to go out there beyond your comfort zone, even if it's just slightly outside the comfort zone, like kind of opening the gate and just standing in front of the gate. Not quite venturing into town just yet. It's still something to celebrate. It's a new beginning. Okay, this is lovely. Lady Oshun also wants to ask you to have faith. Number 12, trust your faith in this situation. I love the butterfly imagery, because that shows you coming out of your shell, your cocoon, but it also shows you developing and growing as a person. So literally just not being trapped anymore, or held back, inhibited. That's a good word for the sacral chakra when we're talking about blockages, where it's our inhibitions that block the sacral. I feel like for some reason the sacral is often really overlooked. We can talk a lot about the heart chakra, throat chakra, but the sacral is also key to self-expression. And a lot of people aren't aware, but chakras kind of work from the ground up. So if your root chakra is wounded or out of balance, then you could work so hard on your heart chakra or throat chakra, but you'd never ever be able to fully experience what they have to offer you, because it needs to come from the ground up. So if your root chakra is fine, then you can start working on your sacral. But if your sacral is out of balance, you'll never, have the full benefit of your solar plexus. It's all like that. And I think the sacral chakra is often overlooked in favor of other chakras, but it can be one of the most wounded for a lot of people, especially women. And the base card here I think is also relevant. This is embrace your emotions. Number 18, allow your feelings to surface and be accepted. The sacral chakra is connected to the emotional body, the emotions that we feel, our nerves, all of those things. Obviously, as I said, it's a water element chakra. So this process of growth and releasing the past does not mean that you just kind of push your feelings down and get on with it. It means that you fully process them. And that might not all happen overnight. You might not be able to process the entirety of what's getting you down just in May. You might have to do a bit and then leave it to settle and then come back to it maybe a few weeks or even a few months later. It's a process for you, group 2, and I don't think you should push yourself to do too much all at once, like I was saying about just going outside your comfort zone. I think that's the best way of dealing with things for you. Wow, this is really lovely. Okay, Lady Oshun says, no need to fear. Number 18, remember how powerful you are. This is a perfect message, especially for those of you that are struggling with confidence, struggling with believing in yourself. The base card there, I want to be a queen. Number 33, stating your sovereignty, declaring freedom, passing a test. Perfect. Definitely just picking up on some trepidation for a lot of you. It's like almost like you need some validation or for someone to say, yes, you're fine, you know, go ahead and do what you're thinking of. Just needing that little bit of extra encouragement before you feel comfortable taking that leap. If so, please take the messages today as that encouragement, that validation. Group 2. Experiencing life as it comes. Number 14, drifter. Like what I was saying about not forcing yourself or pushing yourself to do too much. I think that's really important that you just take that on board. Wailing tree, reconciliations on the bottom of the deck, number 59. Interesting, because that seems to be the theme for group 2. It could even be not necessarily that you bump into someone or have that like rekindling of contact, if this is to do with like a process of catharsis and closure. It could be that you just revisit that person mentally and emotionally, you know, like you go back through your past with them and your memories and you try and just process it and then make your peace with that, rather than actually needing to have a conversation with them or to see them physically standing in front of you. Like I said, just take it how it resonates with your situation, group 2, because this is a lot of different things happening for different people here. Lady Oshun gives us number 28 from the King Solomon cards. This is a card that comes to us when we need to wait, when the conditions are not perfect for doing what we want right now, and so we need to wait and we need to give ourselves some time basically to process what we're going through and what we're experiencing. So it's literally just another message saying don't force yourself, don't make yourself do too much. Give yourself time for this. Don't feel like you need to be completely healed or completely better by a certain deadline. You can't rush healing. It just doesn't happen that way. So please don't be harsh with yourself. Equally, I think you can't really rush confidence either. It's something that's cumulative. The more that you do something successfully, the more confident you feel, and it just builds on top of that. So it's not something you can just force yourself to feel overnight. So again, don't feel angry or upset with yourself if you're not able to feel it straight away. Let's get a message from the masculine and feminine in this situation. Your message from the masculine is number 15, Ganesh, wisdom. Okay, so the masculine is coming at this from a place of wisdom, from a place of basically enlightenment. Seeing it from a very, I guess, rational point of view or educated point of view, ready to learn the lessons in this situation. And the message from the feminine. Oh, there's 2. Okay. So the message from the feminine is Damara, guiding children. You are good at helping, counseling, and healing children. Use your skills to help children now. And Maeve, cycles and rhythms. Honor the cycles of your body, energy levels, and emotions. Okay. So just, I should have said before I pulled them, but the masculine and feminine does not necessarily correlate with biological sex. You will have one energy that is more dominant within you. It's very rare to get a 50-50 even split. So you will know which one you are just based upon the dynamics of the relationships that you get yourself into and the way that you put your energy out there into the world. There may not even be a masculine and feminine in this situation. You know, this could not be necessarily someone that you're dealing with. It could just be a conflict within your own self, in which case take it as a message from your inner masculine and a message from your inner feminine. But definitely the masculine seems like they are working on learning lessons and assimilating the wisdom from their experience. The feminine is trying, or needs to try, to go more gently with herself, to put less pressure on herself, to not rush herself, as we just mentioned, to instead follow the intuitive guidance of her body and her emotions and her energy levels. And also the message about guiding children. This could mean that the feminine has caring responsibilities for children. It could mean that they work with children, that they are hoping to have children. You know, this could be tied in with the betrayal even, because, you know, it could be something like you really wanted children. For example, let's say that you're the feminine, you really wanted children, and someone said that they would want that as well, and then they walked out and, you know, you didn't get the chance to have children with them, and maybe now you're worried that time is running out for that. So that could be tied in. I also think it might be connected to the inner child, because we've got this symbolism of the little boy and the orphan. So this feeling of like being abandoned, which may stem from childhood, or not being allowed to grow properly, which may stem from childhood. So just take this how it resonates with you. I find that that card can be interpreted in lots of different ways. And then your final card before we move on to your charms and dice, group 2, is your blind spot in this situation. So it's number 20, sigil number 20 in this deck. I'll need to get the guidebook just because there are no keywords with this deck. You just have to memorize the numbers or the shape of the sigil, and there are 78 of them. So number 20 is, you don't know, but you think you know. Oh, interesting. So it says, if you've drawn this sigil, you think you know everything in a circumstance, but actually you do not know everything, and a critical piece of information is missing. Consider that this piece of information or awareness might be something no one sees yet, or it might be a piece of information being provided already by someone from the outside that is being rejected. In this situation, acting from what you know is acting in ignorance. This desire to be the one who knows is not in and of itself negative, but there is a shadow side to the quest for knowledge. The shadow side is that knowledge is often used by the ego as a security blanket. The ego uses knowledge to avoid things that it fears. In society, knowing more about something than somebody else boosts one's social status. We become significant to others when we know something more than they do. We become significant when we are the conduit through which they can get their knowledge fix. It's easy then to see how the ego could use knowledge to avoid insignificance, personal insecurity, and worthlessness. And it says, if you've drawn this sigil, you need to be brave enough to face what you are trying to avoid by knowing. Open your mind, operate with the intention of understanding everything. Let curiosity be your mental set point, knowing that a critical piece of understanding which you do not have right now will come to you at any time and from anywhere, even potentially the most unlikely of sources. Okay, so our blind spot is anything that we are either not aware of, or that we are kind of deep down aware of but not acknowledging. So in this situation, it's about thinking you know everything, but actually there's something that you still aren't aware of. So there's something in this situation that you still don't quite understand. It could be the root causes of certain feelings for you. For example, you might think it was caused by this situation in the recent past that involved a betrayal, but actually it was caused in childhood, or it was caused in a past life and then exacerbated through childhood and then again through this experience. It's things like that. You might think that you know completely why someone did what they did, but actually you don't know the true extent of their motives, or you don't really know exactly what caused them to behave in the way that they did. Just kind of reflect on that in your own time. I actually should get you one of these little personality oracle cards as well, just to see who's coming towards you in May for those of you that don't have a particular person in mind. So you have peaceful, caring, charming, imaginative. Possible interests are skiing, botany, dance, jewellery, craft projects, art design, nursing, nature, animals, and geology. Okay, so let's do your charms, and then we'll do your dice, group 2. Okay, so it's clear that Lady Oshun definitely wants you to focus on issues around vulnerability or the fear of being seen, the fear of kind of placing your trust in someone because you've done that before, to have that trust, you know, basically removed from you or betrayed. So that's definitely a big thing as far as love in May goes. Your charms give us the happy couple, which is really nice to see in any love reading, especially if you're struggling to trust. The happy couple is landing on have faith as well, so that's showing you that you can be happy in the future. Or if you're asking about a particular relationship that's causing you to have doubts because of these issues with trust, you know, it's saying, look, that was the past. That was, you know, something that was deeply painful, deeply distressing for you, but that doesn't mean that that past has to be repeated in your future. You know, I think that's very important to remember. You have live, love, laugh. Oh. Just jumped out of my hand. Live, love, laugh is all about focusing on the simple things, basically finding joy in every moment. You have the winter symbol here, snowflake. Winter symbol, when it's not wintertime, usually means that something happened in the winter that's still affecting us or that we're still dealing with, or that we're making plans for the coming winter. Obviously, if you're in the southern hemisphere, then you nearly are in the winter anyway. You have the Canadian charm, which is about connections to Canada, but also about resilience, endurance, fortitude, stamina through difficult situations. You have the guardian angel, so there is strong angelic energy around you at this time, available for you to tap into and ask for help. And then you have the basketball going into the goal. I always use that to mean achieving a goal or having a very clear vision for what you want to achieve and the ability to actually bring it about. So there's some lovely charms. Let's do your dice to finish up your reading, group 2. Okay, we're rolling the 7th set of dice, and those are the Harry Potter dice. We just get those for you. And we're rolling 7 of them for you. Okay, 2 7s. Group 2. Okay, so what have we got? We have got the 2 people who are arguing, 2 people who are shouting at each other or disagreeing with each other. So that shows just conflict, I would say, either within yourself, as we mentioned earlier, or with obviously another person, whether it's a contemporary conflict or a historical one. It's still affecting you. There's the person who has been attacked, who is laid on the floor, the wounded person, the injured person. This obviously doesn't just have to be physical injuries, it can be emotional wounds as well, or it can be when you feel completely drained of energy to the point where you're literally on the floor, bringing back the imagery from this card, which I'm always really struck by whenever I pull that card. We have Hagrid over here. This is someone who can help us and support us. Maybe it's this guardian angel that we've seen, or maybe it's a close friend or a family member. Someone who can be there to listen to us when we need to offload, or who can be an advocate for us when we aren't feeling strong enough. You have the chicken dinner. chicken drumsticks, nourishment, taking care of your basic needs, divination with the crystal ball as well, getting guidance, following your intuition. There's also the sorting hat telling you to basically exercise strong judgment in May. So be very careful about the decisions you make, really think them through. I just heard that quote from Harry Potter, like, remember, it's your choices that differentiate you from other people. You might feel like you're very similar to another person, but it's in your choices and what you choose and decide to do that makes you different to that other person. It's not just your talents or your abilities that you share. And then finally you have Norbert, the little baby dragon being born. So there's that motif of birth coming through again. So a rebirth for you. This could also point towards the children message, that's really on your mind as well. But I think it's mainly about this new opportunity for you to reinvent yourself, or for you to regain a lot more energy if you have been feeling very drained or very tired. Basically getting back your vitality, getting back your confidence, your power, your kick, if you want to kind of phrase it that way. So really positive messages, actually, because I don't think that any of this is necessarily happening in May. I feel like this is where you finally decide, do you know what, I'm going to face up to this, or I'm going to deal with this, or I'm going to really stare it in the face and sit with the discomfort that causes, or the pain that it brings up, because I want to lay it to rest. So that's what Oshun is guiding you to do in May. Group 2 is to be courageous. She is asking you to really face your fears, to basically work around any fears that you have with regards to being vulnerable or with trusting, to lay to rest any issues regarding shame or guilt. And I think that's a wonderful thing, although obviously it does require courage. So thank you so much for being here, Group 2. Please do let me know in the comments what you thought of this reading. You might also want to leave a comment to thank Lady Oshun for giving me these messages that I've channeled from her today. Please do like, share and subscribe if you enjoyed the reading as well. That really helps out my channel, and it's a lovely way to show your appreciation for the work that I do. And if you're interested in what I do here and you'd like to get more involved, check out my description box and the comment section below, because they are always full of links. I have my Instagram. You can follow me on there for daily oracle cards. Sometimes I do a daily reading as well. I've got my Patreon for anyone who wants to support me. I teach astrology over there, and there's all kinds of extra perks over there as well. I have my Etsy page if you want to book a private reading or healing session. If you'd like to donate to the channel, I have my PayPal link and 2 wish lists linked below for anyone who would like to send in a new deck. That would be very kind of you. And we have a discount running still with Modern Day Manifestations. If you'd like to get 10% off beautiful handmade crystal jewelry, it's manifestation jewelry to help you bring the right energies into your life to achieve your goals. The discount code is Violet, which you should apply at checkout, and the link to validate that code is below, which will take you to the website to browse their beautiful goods. So thank you so much to them for continuing to offer us their discount with Modern Day Manifestations. Thank you to you for being here. Group 2, have a lovely rest of your day. Take care, have a wonderful May, and I'll see you again soon. Bye bye. Hey there, Group 3, welcome to your reading if you chose Earth Star Chakra, number 1, Initiation, and the Star Spinner Tarot, of course. Then this is going to be your reading. We will be getting messages from Lady Oshun to see what your love life is going to be like in May. We've had some very specific readings so far, so I'm curious to see what yours is going to be like. Obviously, we're going to take into account the Earth Star Chakra because you were drawn to this particular card. So for those of you who don't know, the Earth Star Chakra is your lowest chakra. It is basically based a couple of meters below your feet. It's one that is outside of your body but still within your energy field. And the Earth Star Chakra is one that can really help with grounding, along with the root chakra, of course. It's one that can, when we activate it, take us to where we need to be on Earth. It's a really helpful chakra in that sense, and it helps us connect more with the Earth and our kind of earthly mission, basically, rather than reaching really high into spirit all of the time. The Earth Star Chakra cannot be fully activated until you have activated all of your bodily chakras. I realized I should have maybe explained this a bit more with Group 2's reading, because we were talking about the Sacral Chakra there, but what I said there was that chakras are activated from the ground up, which is true, but it doesn't include the Earth Star Chakra. So I apologize if you watch group 2 and are now a bit confused, but basically you need to start with the root and then work your way up through all of the bodily chakras to the crown. So root, sacral, solar plexus, etc., to the crown chakra, which is at the top of your head. And then you can move down to the Earth Star chakra, and then you move up again to all of the chakras that are above your head. So not, again, physically in your body, but still within your energy field. I'm really sorry if that's really confusing. I just thought I should explain that in case any of you did watch group 2 and were then a bit like, but you said, you have to work from the ground up. Stop giving me wrong information. So working on all of your bodily chakras first before fully activating the Earth Star, although you can do some meditations and things with your Earth Star without doing the prior work to your bodily chakras. That's also fine. You just won't be able to fully activate and unlock all of its power. I was explaining this in group 2 in the context of the sacral chakra. So I was saying that the sacral chakra, in my experience, often seems quite overlooked in favor of other chakras like the heart or throat or root, for example. But you can't activate those higher chakras like the heart and throat without fully healing and balancing and activating the sacral. You just won't be able to reach the full capacity of those chakras without the lower ones being dealt with. So that's just something to bear in mind. Sorry for the really long introduction and lecture. I did not intend to do that, but I just thought that might be helpful for some of you who don't really know much about chakras or who haven't really expanded beyond the traditional bodily chakras that most people are aware of. Definitely recommend doing the chakra work though, because it can be life-changing. So, group 3. Let's see what Lady Oshun wants to tell you about your love life in May. Any messages that she has for you. Please do consider subscribing as well, group 3, if you haven't already. That really helps me out enormously, and it's a lovely way to show your support for my work. Wow. Okay, so quite a few cards for you, group 3, because that fell there. So we're starting off with the Queen of Wands. Lovely card. And then we have the 5 of Cups. Then we have the Emperor, the Hierophant, and the Hermit. So Aries, Leo, Sagittarius, Taurus, and Virgo showing up in your reading so far, especially Aries because it is there in the Queen of Wands and it's also there with the Emperor. So there's a lot going on here, group 3. This is much less straightforward than the previous readings. It feels like there's a lot of work going on here with you gaining more confidence and kind of dealing with, I feel, issues of disappointment, whether it's disappointment with yourself or with other people. And then we've got these 3 very strong figures here. So I'm assuming that this is the Queen of Wands because it came out first to represent you, and that these are separate people. But we'll get on to whether it's not later on. But if they're separate people, then I would say it's like either different people that you're potentially going out with or having, some kind of romantic connection with, or you're considering that, or maybe they're people from your past. And there's maybe one that's currently in your present and the rest are in your past, or they're all in your past, and you're kind of reflecting upon these disappointments or these past encounters where there's some unresolved issues there, or there's some sadness, or there's like a feeling of I need to let this go now, or I need to resolve this issue within myself. Equally, as I mentioned earlier, they may not be separate people. They may all be the one person and different aspects of that one person, or they could all be different aspects of your own self, because they are very, very different. The Emperor is this strong figure. He's not necessarily dissimilar to the Queen of Wands. He's just less creative than she is. He's more dictatorial and less creative. But he's very authoritarian, and he's very able to, get things done, control his life, and move forward towards his goals. The Hierophant is the part of ourselves that wants to be the good person, that's concerned about morality and kind kind of higher power, but it's done in a very structured way. So he represents organized religion. He represents the legal and social and moral codes of life. And then the hermit is kind of like the Hierophant, but less structured. He's our inner moral code. He's our conscience. He's our kind of inner mystic who wants to connect to this higher world, not through scripture or anything that involves like other people telling him this is a technique to connect with the beyond, but instead just doing that through his own practice. So please interpret this how it makes sense to you, Group 3. These could be different aspects of your own being, different aspects of a certain person in your life, and you're struggling to kind of reconcile all of these different parts of them maybe. Or it could be 3 different people, whether present or past, in your life. So I can tell that there's going to be a lot to unpack in this reading with the oracle cards. Let's move on to those now. See what clarification or extra messages they can give us. Okay. So Lady Oshun has given us quite a few cards here as well. We have Geben, number 3, giving. We also have Vollkommene Hingabe, number 35, complete devotion. That's a really nice card to see. Then we have Keksein, number 21, being cheeky. And Stell dich ein, number 31, rendezvous. So interestingly enough, there are no negative cards in that series. And I say interestingly because that is a deck that is really, really good at picking up on any issues in a relationship or within our own self, whether it's kind of emotional or mental, usually more emotional. But it hasn't picked up on anything. So it feels like there are some really positive experiences to be had in May. Maybe this is to do with your Earth Star Chakra taking you to where you need to be, so that you're not staying in places and situations where you've kind of reached the end of the road, or there's nothing there for you anymore, or never was even. It feels like you're in places where there's work to be done, or there's things to be experienced that are valuable. With rendezvous, this suggests to me that you are meeting up with someone in May, in like a romantic context or semi-romantic, when you're sort of friends and are both skirting around the idea of it being more. So this could be going to the cinema, it could be going for walks, out to a restaurant or bar, spending time together. It could even be going to one another's houses. Just kind of making that special date with each other, even if you don't call it a date. Spending time together, having fun. The being cheeky is also really nice because it's kind of pointing towards just being flirtatious, having a bit of banter, testing the waters basically. The complete devotion suggests that you're making time for each other, that there's no kind of, when you feel pushed around by someone or like they're messing you about. It doesn't feel like that's the case. It feels like you're both ready to make time and space for each other and equally giving. There could be a birthday or a special date coming up in May, maybe an anniversary or something, but it could just be giving just because, or someone's love language might be gift giving, for example. Then we have benutzt werden, number 5, being used. And we have Inspiration, number 80, inspiration. So the being used, I don't really see that in the previous part of your reading with like the giving and the complete devotion. It doesn't seem like that's done in a way where it's not reciprocated. So I don't think that's coming from that. I think that this is just where you're kind of reflecting on past experiences where it didn't go well. And, even comparing it to your current situation, like, look at how well I'm being treated now. And back then, I put up with all of this, or I was subjected to all of that. And this could even be with the same person that you're with now, Group 3, or that you're seeing right now. It could be that you feel like now they're making this great effort and we've been talking about our issues, but previously they didn't value me, or they didn't show how much they valued me. The inspiration card is lovely too. Suggests new ideas, a spark, being interested in the other person as well, maybe even finding new places together. We've got this lovely card of the rainbow on the stormy sea, I basically interpret that card as being like, things aren't perfect or things might be difficult, but I'm still okay with that. I'm still kind of happy with my lot. I'm calm in the crisis. I'm getting through the situation well. This could indicate, for example, that you're in a relationship, which might be something you haven't done for a very long time. You might have been single for a long time, but at the same time, like concurrently, you're going through therapy, and that is like bringing up a lot of old feelings and a lot of old, you know, memories that are uncomfortable. And it's kind of like, you know, this has nothing to do with you, person that I'm with right now, but sometimes I need to just be by myself, or sometimes I'm going to be quite upset, but it's nothing you've done. You know, it's just this therapy that's dragging up these old feelings, or it's these memories that have been brought back into my present because I'm processing them, but it's just causing this sort of hangover of sadness or reflection, quite morose reflection. But I genuinely feel like this is you pushing through that difficulty to get to a place of positivity, group 3, and I think that that is really commendable. Then Oshun is telling you it is safe for you to love. Open your heart to give and receive the highest energy of all. So Oshun doesn't want you to be basically stuck or shutting yourself off. We had this a bit with group 2 because of the Sacral Chakra, which is all about basically feeling comfortable being vulnerable. And I feel like there's a little bit of that here, less so than with group 2, but it's more like you need to know that it's safe to love, and that basically loving someone and opening yourself up to someone doesn't necessarily mean that they're going to take advantage of you, you know, or it doesn't make you a needy person, or it doesn't make you a weak person to express that you have feelings to someone, or even to express that you have needs to someone. Having needs doesn't make you needy. And I think that that's an important thing for you to remind yourself of. It's safe for you to love. It's safe for you to tell someone, I love you. In May, you might be the kind of person that can't quite form those words in your mouth in a romantic context because it feels like such a huge thing to say, or you feel stupid saying it, or you feel like it's going to be completely, you know, taken and thrown back at you as a missile. But Oshun wants you to know in May it's safe for you to love, and the base card is express your love. Go ahead and make the romantic gesture. And I think that's really in tune with Oshun's teachings as a goddess of love and luxury and self-love and intimacy and abundance. She doesn't want us to be small. She doesn't want us to make ourselves small and to feel weak and to dim our light. She wants us to be this bright, shining individual. She wants us to feel comfortable taking up space in the world. She wants us to feel like we can lavish attention on ourselves, or like we can feel comfortable being the source of another person's attention, because we are worth that attention, or we are worth that pampering, or we are worthy of love, of being seen, of another person's affection. So this is really in line with what she teaches. Don't make yourself small. Don't dim your light to make another person feel more comfortable. We've got this card from the Lover's Oracle, which says, when you pass from this world, you take nothing with you but your soul and the memories you have shared with those you love. So it's basically like reminding yourself, like, life is there to be lived. This is another thing that Oshun teaches us. It's not to be sitting on the sidelines watching life pass you by, or living vicariously through other people, and then, you know, you die and you move into your next incarnation. It's not to be lived like that. You'll never learn anything that way, and you'll never grow that way, because you'll just be left literally like, we've got sunflowers, okay, in your first card here. I didn't even realize until I was just looking for a flower symbol just then, but Oshun, her calling card are sunflowers. They are one of her symbols, and I was just about to say it's like being a flower that's kept in a dark room, or that's kept always in the shade away from the sunlight. You're just going to wilt, or you're going to have stunted growth. You need to make sure that you are always out there experiencing things. Yes, you need downtime and you need rest, but life is not to be lived from the sidelines. You want to be able to look back with no regrets. Group 3, have faith. Trust your faith in this situation. Number 12, I actually want to say, if some of you feel like you were really drawn to group 2, you might want to watch group 2 as well. I'm not saying it will resonate as much as this one, but you might want to watch it as well for additional messages, because they got this card as well. And there's just a few things that stand out to me as being similar to their reading. Have faith that it's going to be okay. Trust that it's all going to be fine. Trust yourself as well. We've mentioned self-confidence. All must have prizes. Number 13, trying to please everyone. And I think the base card here is relevant too. You can't go back to yesterday. Number 44, be in the present. Because that was kind of what I saw with that 5 of Cups card right at the start of the reading there. I felt like you were doing a lot of evaluation of the past and like looking back and thinking, you know, I wish I could have done this, or I wish I could have gone back and done that, or done that differently, or not experienced that in the way that I did. And I just feel like that's not the way, certainly not the way that Oshun wants you to think, but just not the way to think in general, because you can't go back and do that. And yes, you might learn lessons from the past and what you know, would do if you were to go back, but there's no point dwelling on it. You've learned the lesson, you can move on. You don't need to keep torturing yourself or punishing yourself for not having done what you would only have thought of doing with hindsight, you know? Where's the wisdom in that? Also, this trying to please everyone message. That's where being used comes in. Watchers, transpersonal. Number 60, again, this sort of feeling of how do others perceive me? What can I do to improve other people's opinions of me? We have number 12 from the King Solomon cards. I'm actually not sure which card this is, what the meaning is, so I'll have to just double check in the guidebook for you. Group 3, number 12. Control and authority. Okay, so that's quite similar to the Emperor. Leadership, authority, responsibility, and proper conduct. Taking control of the situation and succeeding even without the help of others, in spite of people who try to trip you up. Willingness to bear any outcome that results. Advice is take responsibility into your own hands. Do not wait for anyone else. Charge forward, otherwise nothing will move. You are the creator of your own reality. And that is exactly what I felt Oshun was telling you when she was saying, don't stand on the sidelines. Don't be this flower that is kept in the shade. Be prepared to experience things and to put yourself out there and to, you know, feel uncomfortable sometimes. It's not a terrible thing to be pushed outside of your comfort zone. Your message from the masculine in this situation is Shiva. Number 42, destruction. So the masculine wants to change things, wants to put an end to something. When I say masculine and feminine in this situation, it does not necessarily correspond with biological sex. So just take a moment to assess, if you've never watched my videos before, which one am I? You will know this based upon the dynamics in the relationships that you get into, both romantic and friendships, and also how you put your energy out there into the world. So that will help you to know whether it's a message for you or about the other person in this situation. If there is no other person involved, genuinely group 3, then it could be a message from your inner masculine and inner feminine. If you are that person that I mentioned, kind of dealing with different aspects of yourself. And the message from the feminine in this situation is Dana, High Priestess. You have divine knowledge that can help others through your spiritual teaching. So there's a wisdom there with the feminine. A wisdom that can be passed on to others through being some form of role model. They're very different as deities. I wouldn't say that they naturally go together very well. That could be why there's a cause, like a source of inner conflict within you. I also think it's why the Queen of Wands has these different figures up here, a lot of which you would think, ooh, that person would never go with the Queen of Wands in terms of like relationship compatibility. You know, kind of trying to match up these parts of your life or parts of the personality of the person that you're interested in or in a relationship with that you just can't really understand, or maybe even can't like reconcile yourself with. Your blind spot in this situation, group 3, is number 13. Sigil number 13. I'll need to take a look in the guidebook for that because they don't have keywords, they just have the sigil number. So number 13 is their goodness. Interesting. This really fits with that mismatch that we've seen here. So it says, if you've drawn this sigil, you and potentially they, whoever they is in this situation, are not clearly seeing the goodness, capability, or excellence of the other person/people involved in this situation. You are currently only aware of negatives and potential negatives. As a result, you are making decisions and taking actions relative to that person or those people that will not end up benefiting them or you. Ask yourself, what am I so afraid will happen if I admit to what is truly good and capable and excellent about them? Perhaps if we admit to their goodness, capability, or excellence, we will have to admit to our badness, incapability, or failure. Perhaps if we are distrusting of others and taking note of their negatives so as to keep ourselves safe. If we see what is negative about them, we can justify protecting ourselves against potential ways they could injure us, and thus shutting ourselves off to them or using criticism to try to get them to change. Know that you may have the very real tendency of interpreting other people's behavior as having hostile intent, even when their behavior and intentions are either ambiguous or benign. If you've drawn this sigil in the situation at hand, either you do not see the other person's goodness, capability, and excellence, and or they do not see those qualities in themselves or each other. It would be wise to open your awareness and see it so that you can make decisions and take actions that benefit both you and them. Interesting. That makes a lot of sense, as I said, with why it seems like there's such a mismatch of personalities going on here. So your blind spot is either something that you're not aware of in a situation or something that you kind of are aware of, but you really are trying hard not to acknowledge it because you don't want to face up to it. So there is something here where there is either another person in the situation or there are aspects of yourself that you don't like, but you need to acknowledge the goodness in those aspects. Or, you know, you're trying to tell yourself, this person's no good for me, you know, for whatever reason, they're not the person that I should be with forever, or they're not the person that I should be with long term. And yet there are some really good aspects to them that you're downplaying or that you are consciously trying to like avoid thinking about. This is really, really interesting, group 3. I've never pulled that one before. So then the person coming towards you in love in May, just to get your final card, is kind, practical, devoted, and compassionate. Possible interests for this person are movies, crafts, painting, libraries, nature, agriculture, social service, pharmacy, and fun outdoor activities. So that's for those of you who don't know who is coming towards you, or maybe that is pointing out the positive aspects of the person whose negative side you are so hyper aware of. So group 3, let's move on to your charms and dice. See what else they can tell us, what other messages Lady Oshun has for you about your love life this May. Okay, so this one fell out while I was shuffling. This is the reindeer. And so the reindeer is this symbol of being guided from a higher source, and it's landing obviously on the divine feminine in this situation. And so that's telling me that the feminine is guided from this higher source, and she may not be aware of that, but that's what's going on for her. She has this higher intuition and guidance. We've got the worry thread over here on the blind spot card. We also have the blue heart, which indicates sadness in the heart space, sadness in love or in, reflections about the past. We've got the chilies, passion and excitement, intimacy, the anchor, stability and security. This is the apron that one of my worry dolls used to wear, and it's kind of become unraveled in the charm tin, so its meaning is the same as the worry thread. There is worry about feeling safe and stable and secure in love. There is a guardian angel here, so there is strong angelic energy around you which you can tap into and ask for help with, or ask to guide you or to keep you safe, to help you with healing, whatever you want to ask for help with. There is the good luck charm, the horseshoe. So there is a positive change in your fortunes in May, or things start to go more smoothly for you with regards to love. And then finally, we have the paw print. And the paw print is a symbol of following in someone's footsteps or following things on social media. Maybe this is the time to finally unfollow or block that person that caused you harm because you no longer want to be updated about their life. Maybe before it was too difficult to unfollow them, but now you're able to finally remove them from your feed, for example. Following in someone's footsteps can also mean following someone's steps to happiness or success. So let's get your dice on top, group 3, and finish up your reading. Okay, we're rolling the 8th set of dice for you. Those are the Adventure Time dice. See how many of them we're going to roll. 5. Okay. Okay, so we've got the Ice King. Firstly, the Ice King is one of the main villains in Adventure Time. And the Ice King is someone who is very lonely, and this causes him to do terrible things, to seek out company. But he didn't used to be a terrible person. So my meaning for the Ice King is partly someone who's lonely or someone who's sad, but maybe doesn't want to recognize those qualities within themselves, those traits. And also someone who used to be good or used to be a great person, but over time has gone through a negative change, sort of a negative growth process, ungrowth, if you like, where they've become less of themselves or a worse version of themselves. So just take that however that resonates with you. We've got the two friends dancing and sort of vibing together, two people who get along well, dance and movement, quality time. There's also two people hugging. So intimacy, closeness, reconciling of differences as well. And I also think of comfort too. We've got the forest. When I see forests, I often think of it's difficult to get clarity because it's kind of muddled and everything's jumbled together and it's easy to get lost in a forest. There's also that phrase, can't see the wood for the trees, when you're so deeply sunk into a situation that you can only see the detail and you can't pull yourself back and see the bigger picture. So I think that really resonates with when your emotions are just all over the place, or your head is really spinning and you can't quite focus on what the actual issue is or what the overall lesson is in that experience. And finally, we've got the person who is looks a bit unwell, or looks like they've been in a fight maybe, who's recuperating. So this is all about healing. It's also about recognizing your wounds, not like the Ice King who denies them, but recognizing them, owning them, accepting them, and then starting to heal from them, because you can't heal from anything if you don't acknowledge it. That's always the first step. So that is what I'm seeing in your reading today, Group 3. Lady Oshun really wants to draw to your attention this issue of the mismatched personalities and what you can do to recognize more of another person's good qualities or your own good qualities. There's also a message of you need to live your life, not hold yourself back out of fear or stand on the sidelines, but actually go out there and live it and enjoy it, because you have so much to experience and so much to offer. It is safe for you to love, and you should take control of your life accordingly. So I really hope you've enjoyed this. Please let me know in the comments what you thought. Please also like, share and subscribe if you enjoyed this video. That really, really helps me out, and it's a lovely way to show some support for me as well. You might also want to leave a comment thanking Lady Oshun in the comments, because obviously these messages have been channeled from her today. And if you would like to get to know more what I do on the channel, if you're interested in my work, then just check out my description box or the comment that I post below. They are always full of links. You can follow me on Instagram for daily oracle cards, and I sometimes do daily readings there as well. You can support me on Patreon. I would love to see you over there. I teach astrology on Patreon, and there's also all kinds of other perks as well. You can head over to my Etsy page to book a private reading or healing session with me, and I have other services too. If you'd like to donate to the channel, I've got my PayPal link, and I also have 2 wish lists for anyone who wants to send a new deck to the channel. That would be very kind of you. And we do still have a discount running with Modern Day Manifestations, so if you'd like to get 10% off crystal manifestation jewelry, then use the link below and use the discount code VIOLET at checkout. The link below will take you to the website, to Modern Day Manifestations, and will validate the discount code as well, so you don't need to go through that. And thank you so much for them for continuing to offer us that discount. Thank you to you for being here, Group 3. Thank you for staying until the end. Take care of yourselves. Have a wonderful May and a lovely rest of your day. And I'll see you again soon. Bye bye.